What happens when that tired old story time at the library gets all the way turned up? Billy Allen is what happens. An award winning librarian, community leader, and innovator, Mr. Billy, as he's known online, carved his own path by bridging hip hop instrumentals while reading and sometimes rapping popular children's books to make a one of a kind experience no library had ever seen. Often imitated but never duplicated, Billy has taken the library world by storm, using his passion for inspiring lifelong learning to redefine what a library can be for the next generation. As manager of the newly built Noma Library in Wilmington, Delaware, Billy is leading the vision of a modern Think Do Hub, a library that blends technology, entrepreneurship, workforce development, creativity, and community engagement. He has built a national reputation for making libraries exciting, relevant, and impactful through social media, strategic partnerships, and innovative programming. Well, hello, Billy Allen. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Long time coming.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're here now.
We here. I'm just jumping right in. What is your library story? Like, where did you learn about library school, background? Where'd you get your MLIS from? All of that.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your platform. Big fan of your platform. So I'm a proud graduate of two HBCUs, Lincoln University and North Carolina Central University. So I went back to school at 25, and I was going to be a nurse, following my mom's footsteps. I was an EMT medic in the Air Force, and halfway through my undergrad, I met one of my good friends, Bradley Kirkendall, and he introduced me to Jerome Alford, who was there at Lincoln University.
Hmm.
And both of them was like, "So you still gonna do this nursing thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what y'all about to do?" Which I was referring to Bradley, and he was like, "Man, I'm about to be a librarian." So the first question that I hit him with, that we always get now, is, I said, "What the hell do a librarian do?" And when he introduced me to Dr. Jerome Alford, and we're in the library at Lincoln University, I didn't even know this was an industry. I did not know you had to have a master's degree in library science. I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't even know Black people were librarians, like, just to be real.
Hmm.
So Dr. Alford definitely took me, Bradley Kirkendall, Gerard Moore under his wing, and he created a library science minor there. So it was about 40 of us that was actually in the minor. And then he actually saw that we were really serious about it. So he created a cohort at WashU University. So we actually did an internship in St. Louis to explore different types of libraries, from ARLs, public libraries, academic libraries. And I met Makiba Foster, Trevor Dawes, Trevor Trusiak. Jeff Trusiak. And then I went to my first ALA where I met Kelvin.
Okay.
And so this is all within like 5 months. So then I'm like, okay, I see people that look like me. I'm like, I got to do this. So ended up getting my bachelor's in liberal studies with a minor in library science in Missouri. And then at 29, then I moved back home to North Carolina, where I'm from, to go to North Carolina Central University. And that was kind of funny too, because I was actually, shout out to Dr. Alford again. The brother needed a job. So, I'm doing a summer job, teaching information literacy to high school
Hmm.
students, teaching STEM. And I'm like, I'm already in Durham. I might as well try to get into North Carolina Central. So I literally walked into the office, met Dean Owens, shout out to Dean Owens, told her I wanted to become a librarian. I didn't have no money at the time to pay for the GRE, but I name dropped, Dr. Alford, Kelvin, Makiba, and I got in grad school in less than 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
She looked out for me. She waived my GRE fee, got me a GA, and then, the rest was history. My concentration was academic, which is kind of crazy. So, and I never said I would never work in a public library. Get my MLS 2016, I'm 31. And, like within the first 2 weeks, I'm looking for library jobs. All the jobs that were available are public librarian jobs.
Hmm.
So I don't think I mentioned, yeah, I got my MLS from North Carolina Central, and I applied for a youth services librarian job. So the funny part about it is for the interview, they said you had to do a story time and an online resource. First of all, I'm like, what the hell is a story time? I ain't never did a story time before, right? So I'm looking on YouTube. I'm looking at like all these read alouds. I'm like, I don't relate to this. I can't connect to this. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it my way, you know. And so I read Maurice Index, What the Wild Things Are. And I did it my way. I always been like a class clown entertainer. So I did it my way. And I got the job, showcased Brain Fuse as an online resource. And then the rest is kind of history. Like I developed my thirst for the youth. Like I'm like, I know they don't see this, you know,
Yeah,
bringing the joy of reading, having that representation as a librarian, as a black person. And, you know, I've been in the game 10 years. I mean, it's went by that quick, managing 90% of my career. And, you know, God has been good, you know, like I found my passion.
yeah, yeah. Your origin story is similar to a lot of librarians that I've just kind of met in passing and also had on the show, right? Like as Black people, we were not told that librarianship was a pathway, a career pathway anyway, right? Like we're kind of in that same area. I got my MLS in she's 2011. My God. Um, but yeah, like we weren't told, and much like you, somebody else told me like this is a viable option. For me, I was already working in it, and then the person who told me just happened to turn out to be become my mentor. But yeah, like the that's such a if I had to like do research on it, I would say probably about anywhere between like 80 to 90% of Black librarians have that same origin story. Like somebody who was already in it or knew about it told us, and then we like decided to go and follow that path. But yeah, fun fact too for everybody that's listening, NCCU is the only HBCU in the world um, that offers library science as a master's program. It is the
Eagle
only
Pride. You know, it's the Eagle
Eagle
Pride all day. And I think too, I mean, for what we're doing, I mean, we talk about representation. When they first introduced library science to me, I was the last one out of all my homeboys to believe in it. You can ask Bradley Kirkendall, ask Dr. Alford, Kelvin, McKeeba. I had to go through that internship and actually see it for myself.
Mhm.
And that changed my whole trajectory. So like, yeah, shout out to like it's important to have mentorship.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so you're in libraries, you're in youth services, which Godspeed to all youth services people. Like that was not my ministry. I was like, mm-mm, mm-mm. Um, but talk to me about being the hip hop librarian, right? Like what was the light bulb moment when you realized that traditional story times needed a remix?
You know what was funny? So like I started my career at the Jacksonville Public Library System. And, you know, I'm going to the Head Start places. And like, you know, I remember the lady that was the owner of this Head Start school. She was like, you need to build a business or a brand around this. She said there is a need for young black kids or kids in general to see this type of storytelling. So when I went to Broward County Libraries to work under Kelvin, it started taking off. Now I'm talking about, we ain't talking about 30, 40 people. My storytellers are having 150, 200 plus people. And I hit my homies up and I'm like, yo, is there anybody doing a kid show or doing hip hop and story times? I said, I ain't seen nothing like it. I ain't seen no one similar to this other than Reading Rainbow. So I
Mhm.
said, I'm gonna do this. So I started experimenting. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do the Sierra Goodies instrumental. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do, you know, play Drake or, you know what I'm saying, or some Hove or some Nas instrumentals. Cause I'm like, we got a real independence. Because the love of reading, I'm 41, where, you know, I'm an 80s baby where the nostalgia of 90s music, 2000s
Mhm.
music, most people around my age are parents. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And you bring that in with them to reel the kid. The kid have no clue. They listen to Sierra Goodies, you know, background.
Yeah.
Or literally a couple of years ago, well, earlier this year in Vegas, I did a story time, the juvenile back that ass up instrument, and he was started taking off, and I'm like, you don't even have to rap it, you know? So I'm like, I'm rapping it, performing it. This is all performance, right? You know,
Yeah.
I was heavily influenced by the Wayans brothers. You know, I'm a big battle rap fan. I'm Eddie Murphy. So it's like, if I was a kid this is how I would want someone to read a book, right?
Mhm.
And it's just been like, I mean, like I said, 10 years later, I started creating the platform Three King Visions in 2019. And, literally at the start of the pandemic too. So,
Yeah.
doing the online storytelling and then doing it in person. And then, like, even on my YouTube channel, I would say 85% of the books I read aloud are from Black children's authors. So, bringing that representation where they're not used to seeing a Black man hold a book, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or when they can take this home and make it a family experience. So, hip hop, I'm from hip hop. And I think if you take it a step further, just how you interact with the community. I can wear a suit and tie, but that's just not what I do. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? And when you work in the public, being able to connect with people is important, and being authentic. And just, I think I've been successful with that as far as just connecting with not just the teens and the kids, but the parents and just people, just being a regular person. And I hate when people say meet them where they at, but that's what it is.
Can you share like a specific moment where you saw um a child, specifically like a little black boy, that had like the greatest reaction of seeing themselves reflected in a book that you read?
So I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna give you two stories. One of the story, I tell the story a lot, but it's so powerful. Literally about a year and a half ago, I'm in the grocery store. A little 4-year-old boy runs up and hugs me from behind. And the mom, which is a sister, she was like, "You're Mr. Billy." And I'm being really humble. I'm like, "Thank you." She was like, "No, no, no. My son watches you on YouTube." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." She was like,
Mhm.
"No, let me tell you something. I asked my son, why do you like watching this?" And she told me that her son says, "Mom, because he looked like me."
Mhm.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
Because if you even look at kids' edutainment right now, it's not a lot of representation. Even
Mhm.
shout out to like Gracie's Corner, but like, what about like the reading rainbow type aspect or just reading books? We need to see us, people of color, reading books. I'll tell you another one. Literally, when I was in Vegas, I was doing my hip hop story time. I'm reading Llama Llama Red Pajama to Lil Wayne's A Millie. And the little boy, like, the mom was telling me he hated story time prior to coming to mine.
Mhm.
And he was standing up and, he just bobbing his shoulders and stuff. And she was like, he forever loved reading ever since that point. I think that little man probably about 5 years old now. So he loves reading books. So
Mhm.
just incorporating a new aspect to literacy. I think we know the literacy rates with Black people. We need to. I think, a lot of people get mad when I say this. The traditional way of literacy and the approach, it ain't working because you got adults that don't like reading. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, so why not incorporate your favorite instrumental? And it doesn't have to be hip hop. It could be R&B, rock and roll alternative. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Afro beats. Just make it a family experience where it's working on your confidence. People don't understand storytelling works on your public speaking skills. You know what I'm saying? Talking to strangers. And
Mhm.
you'd be surprised how much confidence you develop by reading aloud. Like
Yeah.
I know you remember when we was in school, I hate to say it, used to be the funniest thing ever in school when a teacher would call on the student to read aloud. Because it was like, I know how to read, and I took pride in that, right? When the teacher
Mhm.
calling me, I'm about to show out because my mom always had me reading.
Yeah.
But imagine if they had that when they was younger. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And it's kind of like when I throw in the empathy part where maybe they never was shown how to read aloud, right? To overcome that fear. So, those are the type of stories I get all the time. And I get messages all the time from parents saying how my approach is different. And I had a lot of naysayers early in my career, even right before I left Las Vegas. I had a lot of naysayers that was like, well, not everybody can do that. But I said,
Yeah.
but we always got to do y'all music and movement story times. We always got to relate to how y'all do story times. How come we can't do something different?
Yeah.
So I think it's just kind of like taking a different approach and sticking with it.
Yeah. And that speaks to the overall culture of librarianship, which still to this day is overwhelmingly Caucasian, right?
Hmm.
Even on the even when we do like collection development, right?
Yep.
Like I've worked in PWILs, right? Predominantly white you know, library institutions. Um, and it's night and day, right? Going from a PWI library into a black one, right? And the comfort that you feel walking
Yeah,
in knowing that the branch manager looks like you. You know what I mean?
it go a long
Um,
way.
it goes a long way. And then you have like the middle of the road folks like, oh, well, we shouldn't say it's a black library or black this or black that. It's
Oh, man, burn my
divisive.
head.
Yeah. And but that's the reality.
I'll give you a good story. So, when I was in Vegas, and I'm gonna do it here because I'm now in Wilmington. I'm pretty sure we'll get to that, but when I was in Vegas, we did a lot of legendary things. So I'm a big supporter of indie authors. So you know this as a librarian, we always get questions from authors on how can I get my book in the library. So shout out to Kelvin Watson, my bro, my mentor, giving me the autonomy. I created an independent author collection. And I use my platform, which I have a lot of authors following me. I put over 700 books this past year in the
Wow.
library at Whitney Library. So I remember, and then people, you see this, it is what it is. And I'm being transparent because we talk about representation in all spaces. Um, so I would say 75% of those authors were Black. I had people
Hmm.
from Asia that sent me books, France that were Caucasian, but I had to do a collection development training. So for my youth services people, because and I say this, and I said this in the Are You a Librarian documentary too. That and if you hear what I'm about to say, it's just me being transparent. I think majority of white people think they know youth services. And when you have someone of color that comes in, and I have a different perspective on this. So they was like, okay, Mr. Billy, like, how do we read these books in the story time? I said, what do you mean? When I did this training, I brought in all the books in the stacks. And I had them from Tyrus Gaucher illustrators, all of these people, not your popular Kwame Alexanders. These are all picture books. And
Hmm.
we doing readers advisory. They were picking up the book as if they were scared, like it was a disease. And and mind you, there's no one now at the time, there was no one in youth services that I was overseeing that were Black. My youth services
Hmm.
department head was white, but we had a couple of Hispanic people. They still, it was like, well, I don't the books are terrible. I heard them say these books are terrible. And I was like, hold on, let me redirect this. I said, I
Yeah.
could go through our stacks right now and point out books and say that book is terrible. That's not our job. If we're talking about representation, you need to be able, I had to give a directive for them to read the books in story time. It was a very interesting experience where when you try to, I definitely cultivated it. I think my adult services side supported the initiative more, right? We
Yeah.
created a Black Author Expo, a Children's Author Expo that they ran at the youth services. I gained a lot of experience. I'm pretty sure we can get into that as far as my time in Vegas that I tell people librarianship now, I'm 10 years in. I love being a librarian, but the reality is it's a lot of, I'm gonna say it's ignorance and being blind to representation. People use these buzzwords, but they don't practice it, right?
Hmm.
They want to do it on their own terms, and people are uncomfortable. Maybe that's another word. They're uncomfortable when you have to read stories about Black girls with her natural curly hair. Or Billy, how do I do this? Or I remember one of the staff members, I'm going on a tangent, but it's all about representation. Where I
Yeah.
had a staff member who was like, well, Mr. Billy, what if you're not here and Miss Judy, she's 65 years old, she have to read those books. So
So.
you know, like, so I feel like that's why we're so important. You know what I'm saying? And let people know it ain't just two or three black librarians out there. We
Mhm.
do exist, and we're fighting a war.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about your time in Vegas. I think I knew who like Billy Allen was, but I think seeing you bring Hamilton to your library is where I was like, oh, he different. Like he different, different. So yeah, talk a little bit about your time in Vegas, and then now I know that you you're back East Coast. right? Manager for the Noma Library in Wilmington. Talk to us about like the catalyst for that pivot, like the advice that you may have for other professionals that are feeling like that calling to go somewhere else.
So, me working in Las Vegas changed my whole career. Like when I say, and mind you, I was working under Kelvin. Kelvin's my mentor and my brother. Like I worked under Kelvin for 10 years. So when I became the branch manager of Whitney Library, and I'm gonna give you like everything. Um, I developed my managerial skills to a T through trial and error because in library school they don't teach you how to lead, they don't teach you how to document, they don't teach you how to plan meetings, how to structure programs or featured events, how to de-escalate situations. Do you know how to non-confirm an employee? Like, I mean, have you ever been in mediation before? Like,
Mhm.
this is all the stuff I gathered. I was managing 35 people, 5 different departments, and when you come into a culture and you have to establish your own, um, it was great. Like, shout out to the workers that worked under me. I promoted over 25 people, like, went under me, and I was able, for the first time in my career, to recruit. I recruited other Black leaders to work under me, and I think my experience was life changing. I mean, I was literally in go mode. I would tell people all the time when I moved, we was on fire. When I say
Mhm.
they treated us like a sports team out there, everywhere we go from the outreach, and I was allowed to introduce a lot of new initiatives. I started outreach at First Fridays there. I created the summer of slime for the summer reading challenge, where I was like, we need to get adults
Yeah.
participating in this. And I said, you know what? Well, I'm an 80s baby, that nostalgia. Who doesn't love slime? And so me and of the community leagues, I even got Kelvin slime one summer, where it brings the community together. I mean, we did so much. The hip hop story time went to a whole nother level. And then it led to, partnerships with the NFL, barbershop books, and then Queer Eye came. And that changed my whole life to this day, like my whole career. Like it was a life changing experience to bring the Fab Five and that experience to the library and
Mhm.
let them know that if you watch that episode, it was 4 Black male librarians featured in that
Yeah.
episode.
Mhm.
And we do exist and we do a lot for the community. I created and jump started, brought mobile showers to the library, bringing family resource fairs, social workers, because I understood that people need resources and help. And I had got a lot of autonomy. And I'm the type of librarian, I'm a walking library commercial, where a lot of my partnerships, um, my staff members would be like, Billy, how did you do this? I'll be at the bar, kicking it. And what's the first question people ask you? What do you do? And I tell
Mhm.
them I'm a librarian, I'm a branch manager, my community needs a lot, and you never know who you meet.
Yep.
85% of my partnerships came outside the library.
Mhm.
So again, being seen, being visible in the community, and then the crowd thing just went to a whole new level where all types of partnerships from vision trucks, everybody wanted to work with us. And then I get that call. They was like, "Hey Billy, Hamilton wants to do a hip hop story time with you." I mean, like, you're talking about just checking off things, and then LeVar Burton, and I'm pretty sure he might follow Michael, but for the longest, I think I was the only librarian that he was following. So when
That's
LeVar
cool.
Burton following you, liking my post saying we're gonna do a story time, I'm forever stamped.
Yeah.
Like he know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
So when we did the hip hop story time, come on now, the main character. Now we ain't talking about the background cast members. We talking about the one that played Alexander Hamilton and Eliza. I'm reading Pete the Cat, Hickory
Mhm.
Dickory Dot, the Kendricks, They Not Like Us, rocking a whole crowd out. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Llama Llama Red Pajama, the Gucci Man, Lemonade. So bringing that hip hop and people embracing it. And Vegas was the perfect place where I feel like my whole career changed. Like I was doing my thing in Broward and Miami, but I was on fire. Now the flip side is I'm still a manager
Mhm.
where people don't want to talk about it. And I'm very transparent now, just having time to reflect. Leadership is hard.
Yes.
It is very hard. People don't give you the grace, especially when you're a Black leader.
Mhm.
And I think when you learn about leadership, you're not friends with nobody that you work with. And when you find that out the hard way, you know what I'm saying, it hurts. But I
Mhm.
mean, it's just it's business.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And when you come to the realization of that, um, there's no safe space in the workplace, in the library.
Mm.
Library people talk more than anybody. Like,
Listen.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so all the stuff I experienced, I tell people I experienced everything. You have to be a professional at all times because they're looking at how you dress. They nitpick. I had a staff member that would literally watch me every day. Oh, I never seen that outfit before. How you? Oh, I like that outfit. And I hit her with this. I said, "What if I did that to you?"
Mhm.
And she got shook and go to HR. But you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
one of those things I tell people when you're a black leader, you're gonna have thick skin.
Yes.
You're going to go through it. But I appreciated it because people don't see what we go through behind the scenes. So, and to be quite transparent, my goal is to be executive director. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm well on my trajectory. Um, and then I got to a point where burnout is real. Um, I didn't realize what was my growth.
Mhm.
I think I probably hit my ceiling in Las Vegas. Now I could have kept it going, yes. And then to be honest with you too, it was just internal things, like and I'm not afraid to share my story. I put out a YouTube video, you know, while I left, and I think a lot of people were shocked. You know what I'm saying? Either one, you're like, okay, why did he do this? Maybe he got something in the tuck, or maybe it was more to this, right?
Yeah.
And I felt at ease. I'm like, I done built this platform up where I do get booked for story times. Authors send me books. So I would be fine. And I said, you know what? I'm ready to leave the library for a little bit. And I betted on myself. And when I tell you I felt a sense of relief
Mhm.
and something I love to do. And for those 3 months, I'm getting booked for story time, still doing my thing. And I had some friends, some library friends like, man, it's like you ain't missed a beat. You're still visible. And then I took some time. When I tell you, I had library systems all over trying to recruit me. So
Mhm.
it's a blessing, right? I'm in a space now where I'm in control of my career. And then, I got a call. I got recruited. It was like, hey, Will, shout out to Jamar. A lot of people, my relationships, right? Um, they were like, hey man, my name was dropped and who could run the Noma Library? And they was like, well, isn't he done with library? You know what I'm saying? Isn't he done with
Mhm.
libraries?
Yeah.
So we had like a real conversation, like, yo, man, so are you done with libraries? I said, no, but it depends on the situation. It really does. So they was like, this is what we got going on. So I did my research. First of all, as a librarian, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to open up a brand new library.
Yes.
Not come to one that's just open it up. And then I looked at the demographics. Well, it's a lot of black people in Wilmington. And I'm when people you see this, I mean, I'm big on representation. There's white people and other races in Wilmington, but it's a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I did my research. And I said, oh yeah, let's get it. And literally, I've been here a month. And when I tell you I've hit the ground running,
Mhm.
because what we're doing at Normal Library, throughout my career, I like to think I'm an innovative leader, thinking outside the box when it comes to service to the community, where we do have the recording studio. We do have a pop-up shop to support business owners. I got a teaching kitchen, like literally where if you're a business that serves food. Yesterday for our soft opening, we had a lady promoting her business, having the community create charcuterie boards.
Okay.
For my grand
Yeah.
opening, I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek for my grand opening. We got Christopher Williams performing at my
Wow.
library. I did a partnership with a brother. He's a local hero here. He has a sneaker shop in our pop up shop. You ain't never seen no J's in the library before.
Never.
So I got a rooftop where we're going to create our own friends of the library. This community deserves that. So
Mhm.
again, my experience in Vegas, I was so well versed as far as I'm creating my own policies and procedures. I'm hiring a brand new team from scratch, no inheritance. So and
I
you
feel you.
smiling because you know. So I was prepared for this. Like, I mean, just to
Yeah.
support Will on this, I said, listen, I'm gonna rock out with this because this is bigger than me. This is giving back to the community. They want me to do my thing with Three King Visions. Like, it's a win-win, right? And I'm back on the East Coast. So I feel like my soul's been rejuvenated, taking that break. So my advice to black librarians, mentorship is important, but also find your own way. Find your own way. And I'm gonna tell you, make time for yourself. One of the biggest lessons I learned from Queer Eye was, all I was thinking about was the library, the library, the library. That library ain't gonna love you like that, like you think it is. And this is Mr. Billy saying this, like,
Right.
and I felt like, okay, I'm not, I'm a little jaded in a sense. I got the reality of what this profession is. And now I feel like I have to bounce where I make time for myself. I know when to disconnect. So my advice for y'all, learn how to disconnect. The library ain't going nowhere. That email that you think is so important, it's not that important. I promise you that. Or that program you're working on that run a show and all that stuff, they still gonna nitpick at that shit. you know, so like that outreach ain't going nowhere. So I got a reality where perspective. I'm good. I'm happy. And not to
Mhm.
say I wasn't happy in Vegas. I mean, like we was on fire. It was a life changing experience. But you know, I'm in the second half of my career.
Yeah. And you can be in such a fast-paced, productive zone when you're in that library, in that space, like everything is going good. Your partnerships nonstop. There's people that want to give you money. There's people that's just like, well, come here, come there. We'll come here. We'll send you this. We're giving you this. And it's great while you're in that moment. But internally, as a person, as a human being, you're struggling.
Yeah,
And it is very hard to for me, when I decided to pivot out, it was very hard for me to get up and go into that physical space. I love the work, but it was so hard to walk in there knowing that I basically had to perform.
yeah,
Like, we talk
yeah.
about masking a whole lot, but it was literally a performance. It was, the happy, sad, like, mask thing that you see in, like, theater, right? Like, that's literally what it was, and I couldn't do it anymore. There were other reasons, but I couldn't do it anymore. You talked about burnout. Like, I'm listening to you tell this story, and it's just like, "Yep, that happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me." Like, I'm checking off everything, and
Get
that's
stabbed in the back by people that
woo,
you thought was cool. I mean, it's a lot of that. I mean, and when you experience it, it's a different thing.
it's
And
different.
but also I take accountability. I think anything, and I always take everything as a learning lesson. Like,
Yeah.
everything that probably happened to me was self-inflicted. Like you like, you shouldn't have did this. You shouldn't have did that. And then because it always come back to haunt you, even when you're trying to do this at the kindness of your heart. So
Mhm.
I think, and this is where people always ask me, like my experience in library school was incredible. But I think when you're talking about preparing you for management and leadership, we got to figure out a way to prepare our younger MLS people, future students, or current people, or people that's vets. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times what happens is, and I'm pretty sure you can relate, I mean, we're all well connected in the industry. It's a small, ain't but so many. We all know each other.
Yeah.
But but who can you really trust?
Mhm.
Because like who can you let your hair down, so to speak? Because when I talk to friends outside of the library and I tell them all the shit that goes on in the library, they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Because and I don't know if you experience this. Maybe this is one of the few industries that the paraprofessional could try to tell you how to do your job, or the person that think they can do your job can't do your job. But
Mhm.
everybody has autonomy, or it's too many chiefs, but not enough chefs in the kitchen.
Right.
I mean, I butcher that, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I do. And
you
you're right.
know,
This is the only industry where that happens. The only one. And there are a lot of people that don't know how to play the position that they're assigned to because they feel like they can do it better. I've seen people who I know for a fact should not be in positions that they rose to simply because they were the bone collector. They
Ooh,
had
right.
they were strategically placed to collect them bones and then take it back to where it needed and use literally the bones breaking the backs of their coworkers, right, to get to where they are. And then they get there and they're flailing. They're like, "Oh, well, I done got myself here. I don't know what to do." So now you calling, you going back down to them people. They're broken. They're brittle. But because librarianship, that willingness to serve, that desire to help, you're like, all right, I ain't gonna tell you everything, but I'm give you this breadcrumb. Because again, we all know each other.
Right.
It is very small. It is very small. I wouldn't even say it's 6 degrees of separation at this point. It's more like three,
I
right?
agree. 100%.
It's so small. And I'm talking, yes, like black librarianship, but librarianship as a whole
Correct.
is 3 degrees of separation. Like somebody knows somebody who knows somebody. It's very small. And don't let you
Isn't that
have
crazy? Because
a public persona. Like somebody called me out in public one day and they were like, "Oh, like what's your last name?" And I told them, they were like, "Oh, you did the da da da." And I was like, "Yeah.
yeah,
How you know about that?"
right.
Right.
We talk about representation. Do libraries really need I
Mm,
think you're talking about being performative. That is to a T. Because I'll tell you a story. So at one point, and I am so proud of my work I did in Vegas. That's why I'm so well equipped. At one point, I had 3 black male librarians in leadership positions. Kelvin told me he'd never seen that in a public
I,
library.
I've never seen that in a public library.
So I will never forget. So I had 5 department heads. So the mind you, it's me, my assistant manager, and my youth services department head. And so we're all black men, and we're from the culture. And I never forget, it was another Billy, white guy, my circulation department head. And if you see this, it is what it is. Um, I never seen someone so uncomfortable that 3 black men walking around in the building. The whole library was shook. And we're talking about representation. And in total, we had 4 black librarians, because one of my adult services librarians was a sister. And they weren't used to it because a lot of times, me being a branch manager was enough.
Hmm.
Like, where I'm their first black librarian supervisor, right? Especially a man. I ain't goofy, none of that. My assistant branch manager, Desmond London. Um, and then I won't say the other person name, but um, we were all there.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy. We'll walk through there. Now we'll have laughs behind the scenes, like, oh, they wasn't ready. They wasn't ready. And I never forget Desmond London. And he's the executive director in Flint, in Michigan.
Mhm.
He was like, man, you got some balls to do this. Like, because it was like, it's like, we want this, but do they really want it? They
Yeah.
had problems. Like, it was internal issues just coming out of nowhere, right? And then I've had so many instances, and my experience there with the passive aggressiveness is on a whole nother level. Because if I was white, they would never say that.
Hmm.
I mean, just the tone in emails, or them like, hey, you need to do this. I'm like, who the branch manager here? And then
Hmm.
when you check them, and then when you start playing the game, start following up with the emails, documenting all this stuff, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, he ain't playing.
Yeah.
But he'll still run games. So I just share these type of stories, so people, when you hear this, like, you're not alone. So I think I would encourage all my black librarians to find that.
Yeah.
Don't talk to everybody. Don't
100. Yeah.
don't talk to everybody, because I made those mistakes in my
Yeah.
career.
Yes.
But you live and you learn, right?
Hmm.
And it makes you better regardless. But when it happens to you, like, what the hell?
Hmm.
And you take
Yeah.
work home with you. I think that's another thing. Do not
Yes.
take work home with you.
Leave
It's
it
so
at that branch.
good.
Leave it at that branch. And I think, like you said, find somebody to talk to. And I'm grateful that I've found that, but I also have realized that I am that person to a lot of people.
Mhm.
Like,
Which is a good thing.
but yeah, I think like mentorship is so important. We've touched on like the stuff they don't teach you in library school. I had a TikTok series where I was like, shit, they don't teach you in library schools. Like, I'm gonna be blunt with you, right? Number one, you're not getting money for your programs. Like 9 times out of 10, you're doing it to build it. That's coming out of your pocket.
You know what's funny about that? And that's where I kinda seen all aspects where when we was in Vegas,
Hmm.
it was, I'm not even exaggerating. We had an unlimited Amazon account.
That's
Like,
crazy.
I mean, when I tell you so my signature program, my Teen Empowerment Summit, which I'm bringing to
Hmm.
Noma, I had a $14,000 budget. 7,000 for operational, 7 for contractual, and I can
This might
merge.
be this might be like the first episode because like this podcast is audio only, but this might be the first one that I do like a video clip. Because if y'all would have seen my face when he said that budget number, what? Vegas, but like Vegas, there are systems, right? Like notable, well-known system. Vegas is one. Houston Public Library comes to mind. Charlotte Mecklenburg comes to
Yep.
mind. Both systems, county and city out in LA, right? In Cali. Those come to mind.
Well, look, think about it, the one I'm in right now. I just hosted the 2 chains.
And I saw that. And like the space that you're in, like I've seen like the previews of it, that you can look at that branch and at that system as a whole and tell that not only do the people running the library invest and value the community, but the community invests in that library and love that library. And that is such a rare thing to find. That is
I
such a rare as a person of color, a black person. That is so rare, and I think a lot of us Black librarians, if we found it, we're holding on to it for dear life, come hell or high water, and for the ones that are chasing it, like, listening to this, it's out there, right? It's out there, but how you get it, when you get it, you have to do some work.
Yeah, and you notice, I mean, the power of social media. We got to be seen. It's not just me. It's not just Michael. It's just like we all. What's the sister that is on fire? She just reached out to me. MX librarian, the
Oh, I know
sister
you're talking about.
on fire. You know, a black
Yeah,
librarian, the people's librarian,
yeah,
like yourself, like
yeah,
we,
Shannon Bland,
Shannon
yeah,
Bland. You know what I'm saying? All of us. We need more of us doing this.
mhm,
Because, I mean, to your point, and this is why I decided to come to Wilmington. Literally, when I put the word out that I was here, I know how to do outreach. I know how to put the message out there. Everybody and their mama trying to work with us. I'm just giving you all types of nuggets behind the scenes. I had Rock Nation come by last week.
hey,
You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah,
it's getting out there, and I want to encourage people where we're having this conversation of the good and the bad, but the positives, where your impact is so powerful.
mhm,
People believe it doesn't matter. When I was talking to Two Chains, and I told him I had this recording studio, and I was thinking, like, what?
yeah,
You know, it's like, I mean, this career has opened up doors. Like never in a million years did I think I would have this type of success. And also, like you talk about mentorship, you know,
mhm,
I've been able to get people in library school, get people into college just
yes,
by influence and just being a solid dude. Like just,
yeah,
you know, and I think continue to do the work because this work is hard. It's mentally draining. It's taxing. But when I tell you, when you meet with your colleagues at ALA and
mhm,
stuff, you will be recognized by the ones that matter.
yes,
Yeah, they're like, and I think what I will always say, like the people in the profession, man, the ones I meet in person, phenomenal,
yeah,
phenomenal. And I love that all the Black librarians support each other.
yes,
You know, like we have to do it. But also, I'm gonna give credit to some of the ones that are not Black. They doing it
mhm,
too. They're
yeah,
doing it too. But I think where do you find a representation at in every state, right? You know what
mhm,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Like that's
exactly,
the
yeah,
problem. That's
yeah,
the problem. Like I think for us to push the industry forward is we got to be seen in these high schools. Like, or when they're coming to your library, are you doing programs that be like, hey, do you know I'm a librarian? Like, I share another story that you're gonna laugh at. My first librarian job in Jacksonville.
mm,
So youth services librarian. So one of my staff members asked the kids my first week was like, hey, y'all met Mr. Billy? And they was like, "Oh yeah, the man with the church clothes on," which you know how the kid like we associate dressing good in church.
Yes.
I ain't never doing that shit again. Like like come let me dress like I normally dress, but they saw they
Yeah.
saw and that's important. And I tell people get in the mix. Get in the mix, regardless if it's academic, your archivist, your work is so powerful. And stop thinking librarianship in a linear path.
Mhm.
Them days long gone. We can push, you know what I'm saying? Like if I
Mhm.
didn't come back to this, I was cool with doing Three King Visions full time, which I got that.
Still do. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, use it for yourself. Don't let the library use you.
Hey, we can end the show right there, but they'll be mad at me if I don't ask the questions I ask of every guest. So, um, before I jump into like my final questions, tell the people like when they can come like into Noma, and what they can expect from you over like the next 6 months as you open this brand new branch.
So I'll tell y'all right now, Noma Library is going to change the game. This is the Think Do Hub. So our library is predicated on inspiring the innovator, inspiring the entrepreneur, providing a family experience, cater to the teens, the adults, the senior citizens. So I have a sister branch across from me that does the story times as well. But this is all about inspiring your dreams. There's no excuse. Well, we have a maker lab that's probably different than I've ever seen. Where if you're a business owner and you need to create packaging for your branch, I mean for your business, you can do it. I got a recording studio in a multi-purpose room where you could split the whole room in half, where you could record your podcast, do your hip hop story times, all that stuff. And we got the top of the line cameras. But take it a step further, the pop-up shop. You know what I'm saying? We have a cafe. We have a teaching pantry for the business owner. What about the little black girl that's selling lemonade and she wants to get practice promoting her business? She has a space to do that. She could develop her business, introducing business. I have a digital lab where we can teach the students and the teens about AI or teach our older generation on how to use a computer, but there's no access to the technology. All of my study rooms have large webcams in them, monitors, electronic whiteboards. This is literally the space. We got a teen zone that's literally, we have a self-regulation room, what I'm saying, for outbursts
Mm,
where you don't have to leave the library. You can get yourself together to come back. So
yeah.
what you want to see, our grand opening is August 29th. Like I mentioned to you, I ain't put out the public. I got Christopher Williams coming, potentially Jasmine Sullivan. Like
Mm,
we coming with it, and this is bringing the community together. And what you're going to see is building partnerships at its finest. Literally, you're going to see representation, and we got performances throughout the year, but giving the people what they want, what they deserve, and I think that's important. And if you followed me in Vegas, we taking everything I did there to the whole nother level. So to really, I just hired my community partnership coordinator. That's she was on Dancing with the Stars and on
oh,
The
wow.
Voice, and she's a community leader. So just tapping into our resources. Where I have a wellness center. I'm going to have a full time social worker here. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So to support the mental health and support people with housing assistance, I'm big on that. People getting the information and resources. So my number one play is increasing workforce development. You know what I'm saying? From teens, adults, and
mhm,
seniors. And also some more supporting small black businesses.
yeah.
Period. And when they see the sneaker shop in the library, again, thinking outside the box,
Yes.
where we're inspiring how to pursue your LLC through information literacy classes, right? And also being a safe space. This is the ultimate safe space where there's a lot of crime with the teens. And, this is where my background with youth services dealing with the teens come into play. For our soft openings every Saturday, leading up to August 29th, I had a group of, what was it, 9 young black boys that came in today. They was like, "Are y'all open?" I said, "Come up in here, man. Let them mess around in the studio." You know what I'm saying? They
Mhm.
was hanging out in the teen zone. They was asking for the PlayStation. I come back upstairs. They all got books in their hands. Because they woke.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you're gonna expect from me is just continuing to serve the community, and we're gonna change the game. I got a dance studio. Oh, I haven't mentioned I got a dance
I
studio.
was about to say it's a studio. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a dance studio. So imagine the dance choreography,
Mhm.
having Pilates, yoga, like I
Yeah.
mean, incorporating that health and
Ballet. Yeah.
wellness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Endless opportunity. This is the thing, do up. That's why I really believed in it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm coming to Williams.
All right. So, what creative works are currently occupying your time? What you're reading, watching, listening to? Yeah.
As far as creative work, so literally because we did the book club with Two Chains.
Mhm.
Um, the voice in my head is God. I actually read the book and listened to the audio book. Very intuitive. Talking about intuition. Um, Sometimes you know how like you read a book and it be things you already know. Also, but you
Yes.
got to hear from someone else. And just to hear from him, it's like we always need confirmation of things, right? And you got to listen to your intuition.
What's one thing you will always be proud of?
Wow. Oh man. I would say first and foremost, creating Three King Visions. I think just the platform it's grown over the years. I've only been doing it 7 years, but just to touch base on Instagram, Threads, TikTok,
Mhm.
YouTube, and just attack different demographics and let people know the library is dope. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Come visit your library. A lot of the people, the naysayers, their ass ain't never been in a library before.
Mhm.
Never. And I think, I mentioned I'm a walking library commercial. Like, I can get you excited about coming to the library. Like, I'm talking about normal library right now. But when you see this, you got to come see this branch. When
Yeah.
you see this branch, you're like, yo. And I've seen a lot of libraries. I'm like, this is different. Um, I think also my mobile showers that I created in Vegas.
Mhm.
I am super proud of that because it was different. You see the unhoused and having that sense of empathy where shout out to Kelvin for letting me create that resource fair and that partnership where initially it was quarterly. And my team was like, Billy, are you gonna keep fighting? I'm like, yeah. So I betted on myself and kind of went against a directive and started hosting it monthly. And I was showing the statistics in my monthly report. Look, this is causing other partnerships to help give back.
Mhm.
And then it went from weekly. And then right before I left, we was having mobile showers twice a week. So, being a fighter for the community, I think I'm just proud of just being able to give people the stuff that you take for granted, like taking a shower, where the community comes together, stopping by the library, donating hygiene kits. That's one of my biggest wins in my career. And then, and I got to say, the Queer Eye in Hamilton thing, that was just life changing.
What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself?
Uh, I'm a champion. I overcome adversity. Um, I learned a lot about myself. I think when you be a librarian and especially in a leadership position, you will end up being a better person because you will understand how to take the skills you learn in the library and kind of apply that to how you interact with your family, to people in your personal life, as far as just, it's almost you always doing this psychoanalysis all the time, right?
Mhm.
I think, and again, I always say the library changed my life because I developed so many skills. I just operate on a different level. Even when I resigned from Las Vegas, I took that 3 month, well, it wasn't even 3 months, like, 2 month break. I just like, man, I did a lot. I got better as a grown 41-year-old man. So um life skills. That's and it just which is develop, continue to develop life skills. You think when you're a grown adult, you just at an apex at a certain age. No,
Mhm.
you continue to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, for the people who don't know, where can they follow you online and connect further with you?
So you can follow me at Three King Visions on number three, KingVisons on all social media platforms. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I got some more content coming out. I got y'all, your boys cooking. You know what I'm saying? I got a special announcement soon. It's about to get crazy. I kind of sprinkle a little something if you
I
caught on
am.
what I was saying.
Yeah.
We're just pushing the envelope. Follow me on TikTok, IG, Threads. I just appreciate my colleagues like you for just supporting me, having me on your platform because we're in this together to promote librarianship.
Well, thank you so much. This has been great. Probably one of the easiest podcasts. I'm gonna have episodes that I can edit because I might just let it flow the way it is.
We're just having a conversation.
Just having a conversation. That's what it is. All right, but yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For more information, you can visit us online at www.blackinthestacks.com and find us on most social media platforms at Black in the Stacks.